When you hear the word sabotage, what comes to mind? Maybe it's a hooded figure sneaking into a nuclear power plant, or maybe it's a spy breaking into a government building, or maybe it's someone just messing with the autocorrect on your phone. Not that I would do that, but you know, in theory. We use this word constantly. We self-sabotage our diets. Political candidates sabotage their opponents. Toddlers sabotage a quiet dinner. It's the ultimate word for willful, malicious destruction. But what if I told you that the origin of this high-stakes word isn't about explosives or spies at all? What if I told you it's actually about footwear? Welcome back to Phrases Explained, and today we are unlacing the history of sabotage. We're going to look at the famous myth involving angry French workers, find out why that story might be wrong, and look at a hilariously petty CIA manual from World War II that taught people how to hold really annoying meetings. Let's get into it. To understand sabotage, we have to go to France, and specifically we have to look at the feet of the French working class in the 18th and 19th century. This is a sabot. It is a shoe carved from a single block of wood. It was cheap, durable, and excellent for walking through muddy fields. If you were a peasant in France, the Netherlands, or Belgium, you probably owned a pair of these. Now, here is the story that you've perhaps heard, or the story you'll find if you do a quick Google search. The legend goes that during the Industrial Revolution, mechanization began to threaten the livelihoods of skilled workers. Machines were faster and cheaper, and the workers, fearing for their jobs, allegedly took off their wooden shoes, their sabot, and threw them into the gears of the machines to break them. Because the tool of destruction was the sabot, the act became known as sabotage. It's a perfect story, isn't it? It's visual, it's rebellious, and it makes total sense. We love this story. Even Star Trek loves this story. In Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, the character Valeris explicitly cites this origin. But here is the problem with history. The best stories are often, well, a little bit exaggerated. While workers absolutely did destroy machines, we'll get to the Luddites in a minute, linguists aren't entirely convinced that the word came from throwing the shoes themselves. So if they weren't chucking their footwear into gears, where did this word come from? Well, the root word is indeed sabot. And from there, the French language turned this into a verb, but originally that verb didn't mean to destroy. It meant to walk noisily. Imagine walking on cobblestones in blocks of wood. Clomp, clomp, clomp. You are not sneaking anywhere. You are clumsy. You are loud. Over time, this meaning drifted metaphorically. If you were clomping around in a task, you were doing it poorly. So by the early 1800s, this kind of meant to do a job badly or to botch something up out of incompetence. And in fact, it was often used to describe bad music. If a musician played poorly, they were said to be sabotaging the piece, playing it like they were wearing clumsy wooden shoes. So how did we get from playing the violin badly to blowing up a train track? Well, the shift happened in the late 19th century labor disputes. It wasn't about physically throwing the shoe. It was about working like you were wearing the shoe. It meant slow work. It meant clumsy work. Rather than smashing the machine, workers would consciously withdraw their efficiency. They would work slowly, follow rules too strictly, or accidentally misplace tools. They were botching the job on purpose. So while the image of the shoe in the gears is punk rock and totally exciting, the reality is more about the slow, grinding refusal to work well. By the late 1890s and early 1900s, sabotage had become a formal strategy. This brings us to the famous French railway strike of 1910, because this is really where the definition sharpened from working badly to strategic destruction. The strikers realized that if they just walked off the job, the bosses would hire scabs or replacement workers. So instead of just leaving, they actually disabled the infrastructure. They cut signal wires, they uncoupled train cars. This ensured that even if replacement workers were hired, the trains literally could not move. This concept then crossed the ocean to the United States, specifically to the IWW, the Industrial Workers of the World, also known as the Wobblies, which is objectively an awesome nickname. The IWW loved the concept of sabotage, but they had to be careful. The press painted them as violent terrorists, but the union leaders argued that sabotage didn't have to be violent. Big Bill Haywood, who is a founder of the IWW, famously described sabotage as the withdrawal of efficiency. It was about hitting the bosses in the wallet. not hitting the bosses in the face. Now we need to jump forward to World War II. The definition of sabotage changes yet again, because now it is a weapon of war. The OSS, which is the Office of Strategic Services, itself the precursor to the modern CIA, wanted to incite sabotage behind enemy lines. They wanted everyday citizens in occupied Europe to disrupt the Nazi war machine. But not everyone had explosives. So in 1944, the OSS released a fascinating document called the Simple Sabotage Field Manual. This document is hilarious because honestly, it sounds a lot like the modern corporate office. The manual instructed citizens on how to destroy organizations from the inside without getting caught. Here are some actual instructions from the manual for general interference with organizations. Insist on doing everything through channels. Never permit shortcuts to be taken in order to expedite decisions. Make speeches. Talk as frequently as possible at great length. Refer all matters to committees. Haggle over precise wordings of communications, minutes, and resolutions. Bring up irrelevant issues as frequently as possible. Any of you who have worked in a corporate environment is going to be chuckling. This sounds so familiar. If you've ever sat in a meeting that should have been an email, you have been the victim of sabotage. It's incredible. The genius of this was that it was undeniable. You couldn't be arrested for being too thorough or too bureaucratic, but the cumulative effect was that nothing got done. The gears of the machine were clogged, not with wooden shoes, but with paperwork and indifference. So there you have it, the journey of sabotage. It started as a block of wood on a peasant's foot, it evolved into a metaphor for clumsy work, it became a tool for labor unions to fight for better conditions, and finally it became a military doctrine that weaponized bad meetings and bureaucracy. So whether you're throwing a shoe, cutting a wire, or just asking a really unnecessary question at 4:55 p.m. on a Friday, you are participating in a long historical tradition of sabotage. Thanks for watching Phrases Explained. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that subscribe button. But don't sabotage it. Just click it gently, that's fine. And as always, if you have some suggestions or ideas for our next video, drop them into the comments below. I love hearing your thoughts on which word or phrase we can explore next, so keep them coming. See you next time, folks.